angle. I like that Mike Bradbury's not going to stand in front of me the whole game. And I
We're
like
always
that
dodging right and left to see around him.
We're ready for the tip. Tim Resch, Ashley Gilpin, Jess Martinez, the three officials. Ball's in the air. It's tipped, and St. Mary's will control it. Again, the Gales are going left to right as we see it. So here is Beck on the near side wing, guarded by Bainan, hounded by Bainan. Bounce pass goes to McKay, back to Megan. Lob inside, through the hands and out of bounds. That's a turnover through the hands of McKay. Lobos ball.
Well, Stella Beck on that right side of the floor looking to give a great lob pass in. Puts a little bit too much on it as it just tips off of St. Mary's fingers and goes out of bounds.
Bainan jogs it across midcourt. Goes near side wing. That's the left side to Fly. Fly to Buck, top of the way. Looks inside, throws it to Nunn. One dribble, going left, goes up strong and scores. Jason Nunn right away gets the Lobos the first basket of the game.
And that was Jason Nunn right over the top of McKay. Really just takes it to the basket. Dribbles with her left hand, goes up strong with the right.
St. Mary's ball driving his back, cut off by Nunn. Kicks it out, wide open. Three is no good. Holland missed it. She's their best three-point shooter. That was a defensive breakdown by the Lobos. Lucky that she missed. Here's Bainan in transition. Thought about a three. Instead splits two defenders. Wraparound pass to Bryant. Wide open three is no good. And St. Mary's will grab the rebound. Gales the other direction. Here is Beck on the near side. Leaves it for Holland. Holland puts it on the floor, then right back to Beck. Beck looks opposite way, goes to Forcadilla. Forcadilla passes left, that's the far side to Raggio. Raggio to Holland, top of the way, guarded by Bryant. Puts it on the floor, drives, cut off. Pass goes near side, nearly a turnover. With it is Raggio on the baseline with 8 seconds. Drives, now throws it cross court and out of bounds. Back-to-back turnovers for the Gales.
Well, now you go back to Linnea Bryant, just applying that ball pressure, led that whole way against Holland, right? Linnea Bryant just stops her right at the elbow, and then the passing from there, a little bit of urgency for St. Mary's on their offense, throwing that away.
Lobos the ball, leading 2-0. Bainan to Bryant on the far side. That's the right side. Triple threat position, can dribble. Just still holding. Now to Buck. She's open. She'll try a three, and in and out. I think Buck was looking inside, then realized, oh, I'm wide open, but missed it. 2-0 Lobos. St. Mary's the ball. Forcadilla near side wing. Doesn't use the high ball screen. Gets cut off by Nunn. They force the double team to the baseline. Now pass is stolen by Bryant. Bryant sprinting with Holland. Will slow it up. Wait for teammates to Fly. Fly to Buck. To Bainan. Quick release three. Yes! 5-0 Lobos on the Sharice Bainan three-pointer. And a timeout immediately by St. Mary's.
Well, and I felt like I was just watching a pickup game. I mean, Linnea Bryant gets in the passing lane, comes all the way down, passes over to Tisha Buck. Tisha Buck says, no, Sharice is right there, wide open for a three. Comfortable against this New Mexico defense. And offensively, New Mexico really could just get in those passing lanes, apply more ball pressure right off the bat.
Is that a little bit of panic by Paul Thomas, the St. Mary's coach? I mean, it's only 5-0.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is where you haven't played a New Mexico team, right? You don't know what they're capable of. You're a little bit more dangerous and a little more conservative.
Now the Lobos with some full-court press, and a foul is called on the Lobos Fly. Forcadilla just dribbled it across. It looked like she was about to get double-teamed and then sprinted out of it, and then a little hand check by Fly. St. Mary's the inbounder. They're going to double-team the inbounder. Buck and Nunn jumping high to try to distract. Here's Forcadilla's three. It's good from straight on. And so with two guarding the inbounder, that left somebody wide open, and the Lobos lead is now 5-3. Here's Bainan. She'll leave it for Buck. Buck thought about the three, now driving all the way to the basket and will lay it in. Great head fake by Buck, set it up. 7-3, New Mexico leads, and then two players fall down. Pass goes inside, and McKay is fouled, and she's going to shoot two free throws.
Well, basically, you had Tisha Buck turning around and just running after that, and just an accidental collision right there, right before half court between St. Mary's and New Mexico. On the other end, Jason Nunn just applying pressure right there against McKay as McKay goes strong, and a little bit of the arm contact by Jason Nunn.
So here's McKay. First free throw is no good, rims out. She's the 6'3 junior from Australia, Megan McKay. As a sophomore, she was honorable mention on the West Coast Conference as a junior, first team.
Well, and shoots 61% from the field. I mean, most of her shots are around the basket, but that's great high shooting percentage that she brings for St. Mary's.
Made the second one, so she made 1 out of 2. New Mexico the lead and the ball. 7-4 the score. Fly to Bainan. Bainan just inside the arc, looking inside. Ball fake to the free throw line, spinning. Throws it up off the glass, no good. Got her own rebound. Lost it, trying to get it back. And it goes out of bounds, and it's going to be St. Mary's ball.
Just a little off right there. Sharice Bainan just going at the contact, probably hoped for a little bit for a foul. She regains the ball, but really can't gain the dribble right afterwards as it goes out of bounds.
Lobos have been in man the whole game, including right now. Beck with the dribble. bounce pass, a dangerous one, and Raggio ends up with it. Now the pass is stolen by Fly. Lobos the other direction. It's a 3-on-2. Fly to Bryant. Open three in transition. Barely hit the rim. Way short. Rebounded by St. Mary's.
Well, you had a 3-on-1, and you had Charisse Bainon wide open on that other side instead of that three-point shot.
Beck drives, leaves it for McKay in the paint, who scores. And it's now 7-6 in New Mexico. And Bainon will jog it across midcourt with Buck trailing. Dribbles to the near side elbow to Fly, so start a little bit of a weave. Here's Buck. Driving on the near side wing for Bainon. Quick release three. Good! Charisse Bainon has hit 2 3-pointers. The Lobos lead at 10-6.
Well, really important right there, right? To open up that St. Mary's defense. Make them come out and pay a little bit more attention to Charisse Bainon instead of the other crowd down there on the block.
Bainon did a good job of working around a high ball screen, and now Raggio goes far side to Beck. Beck driving into the paint, and her little pull-up 5-footer is good. And there's Stella Beck with the basket. She's their leading scorer. It's 10-8 New Mexico.
Now that ball screen was inside the arc, a little bit harder for New Mexico to fight over that inside the lane.
Bainon just threw up a wild hook shot way off the glass, way too strong. St. Mary's the ball, running the court well. McKay gets tied up, and a travel is called. Good hustle by Linnea Bryan to break up that play.
Well, and that's where you have St. Mary. Paul Thomas just kind of upset with the officials, saying St. Mary's really didn't even have the basketball, but great Linnea Bryan just coming over help side to just come in straight on the basketball.
Lobos' first sub comes in. Maddie Washington on the floor. India Fly goes out. 2 subs in for St. Mary's. We'll tell you about them in a moment. Bainon will walk it up. 10-8 New Mexico, 5:43 and counting. Opening quarter, first round of the WNIT. High post to Buck. Buck goes to Nunn. Nunn working inside. Fights around. A foul. Count it. And a chance for a three-point play.
Well, how about this? You had Ferguson as well as McKay that just doubled down on Jason Nunn. And she just bodied up, took it with that left hand all the way to the basket. Nice move by Jason Nunn. And really just great focus finishing on that shot.
Lobos will sub in Antonia Anderson. Tisha Buck will go out. So Anderson will play the 4. Nunn remains on the floor as the 5. And Nunn looking to convert in. Old-fashioned three-point play. Free throw is good. It's 13-8 New Mexico. 5:33 and counting. Opening quarter. Beck still on the floor, near side wing, guarded by Bainon. Driving to the baseline, cut off by Bryan, and we got an offensive foul called on Beck. Pushed off Bainon, and the Lobos get basically another turnover.
Well, they called that on Stella Beck, right? And that was Linnea Bryan again coming over help side defense to help Charisse Bainon out on that block for no shot whatsoever for St. Mary's to get off.
Bainon leaves it for Anderson, near side wing to Washington, far side wing. Now Bainon, another 3 from Bainon is in and out. Had a good look, had good rotation, just wouldn't go down. 13-8 New Mexico, St. Mary's the ball. Here's Holland, near side wing, dribbles top of the circle, keeps the dribble alive, now back to the near side. Pass goes to Cotting, who's in for the first time. Cotting guarding by Washington, picks up her dribble at the arc near the baseline. Bounce pass goes to Beck. Beck, and a little pass inside is no good. The Lobos get a stop and the rebound. Nunn the board. Here's Bainon the other direction, pushing. A lot of blue jerseys in front of her. Goes all the way to the basket anyways. Draws contact, a foul, and 2 free throws on the way for Charisse Bainon.
Well, I really wanted that to look good, right? Because we've seen Charisse, she's done a good job of really hitting some outside threes, but her going in for that 2 really has been a little out of control for the Lobos, and instead right there kind of feeds more of what the defense gives her, takes it with that right hand, a little bit more composed on her shot.
Jason Nunn will get her first breather. Comes at the 4:47 mark. Tisha Buck was not off the floor for very long. She's right back in. Bainon sinks the first free throw, all net. Lobos a good free throw shooting team, 76% overall. And Bainon slightly better at 77%. Second free throw also good. I don't think either one of them touched the rim. It's 15-8 New Mexico. Largest lead for the Lobos.
Well, and a lot of it's been New Mexico's really capitalized on picking up those rebounds, right? Defensively, they haven't allowed St. Mary's to get a second chance opportunity to go at the basket.
Beck's got it near side wing, hands it off to Holland, their best three-point shooter. Holland way away from the arc, dribbling, guarded by Bainon. Dribbles top of the way, cut off by Bainon. Pass goes to Rathburn. Now pass goes inside. A good catch and a foul and 2 free throws on the way for Claire Ferguson. That was a tough catch over Anderson. That's the backup post players going at it.
Well, and I think Anderson, she tried to go up high athletically to try to get that pass on the lob in, but came down, and really Ferguson would have missed that either way. It would have been better for her to just get in position. Obviously easier said than done.
And Ferguson misses the first of 2. Ferguson, a sophomore transfer from TCU.
So not a lot of ball pressure right there. If they're able to do those high throwing passes into that post player, New Mexico guards have got to get up there and put a little more pressure on guards.
Missed both free throws. Anderson tracked down the rebound. Bainan drives all the way to the basket and scores. She was too quick for them. Lobos are on a 7-0 run, lead at 17-8. St. Mary's back, driving, stripped, loose ball on the ground, tie up, alternating possession arrow will go to the Lobos.
Hey, that was team effort. I mean, you saw 3 gray jerseys for the Lobos going in to get that jump ball, and those are the hustle points that you need to finish any type of game like this for New Mexico to earn that ball.
4:10 mark, opening quarter. New Mexico, an excellent start, 17-8 the lead.
Well, you got rebounding 5 for St. Mary's, 4 rebounds for New Mexico. New Mexico shooting 50%, St. Mary's 60%.
Bainan dribbles it up to the near side, hands it off to Washington, looked at the rim, instead will drive into the paint. Great feed to Anderson, who had the shot blocked. St. Mary's comes up with it. I thought Anderson might have a second opportunity to go up strong, so she gets blocked. St. Mary's ball. Here's Forcadilla driving, throws it the other way to Holland in front of the Lobo bench. Pass is a foul called. Bainan tried to step in front of Ferguson, and Sharice Bainan whistled for her first foul.
Well, and that's a hard one, right? Obviously, Sharice Bainan in perfect help side defense needs to decide right there, do I make the contact or I just stand my ground and be here as help side defense?
Bainan will go out for the first time. And returning into the game is India Fly. Again, the Lobos are double-teaming the inbounder. They did this a lot with Vanderkel and Keller last year. Not doing it this year. Buck and Anderson double-teaming. St. Mary's gets the ball into Forcadilla. She's at the near side elbow. Drives, kick out. 3-ball by Moy is an air ball. Jumping high for the rebound is Fly. That was a close. Here's Fly in transition. Shake and bake. Pull up. Kick out to Buck. Buck, jab step to Bryan, near side of Washington. The lefty's 3 is no good. Hit the rim twice, wouldn't go down. St. Mary secures the rebound.
Well, and that was about 3 passes. I mean, good ball rotation by New Mexico, passing that around the arc. Maddie Washington with that shooter's touch almost fell back in after the basket.
Cotting has it on the far side in front of the Lobo bench, guarded by Bryan. Bounce pass to Moy. Moy swings it top of the way to Forcadilla, fakes left, goes right, back to the free throw line, good fake, and then a foul call against the Lobos. Reaching in was Anderson, trying to pick her pocket, and was whistled for the infraction.
Well, and I think Forcadilla really sold that well, right? A little bit ahead, kind of throwing her head a little bit like it was hard for me to go to the basket. I don't think there was a ton of contact, but give her credit. I mean, she kept her dribble alive, made a move, came back like she was going to pull it out, and then quickly went back to the basket with a nice transition move.
Anderson will go out. Jason Nunn will come back in. Unusual substitution pattern for Mike Bradbury. He's been rotating his starters out and then back in a lot more quicker than usual. First free throw is no good by Forcadilla. Normally, Bainan plays the entire first quarter. She's still on the bench right now, getting a breather. Nunn got a quick one. Buck got a quick one. Second free throw also no good, but knocked out of bounds on last touch by St. Mary's. So the Gales have missed 4 straight free throws, and the Lobos have the ball in a 17-8 lead.
Well, 7-5 in rebounding and favoring St. Mary's right now, but obviously St. Mary's missing a lot more than New Mexico at this point.
Gales have gone 3 minutes without a basket. The Lobos are on a 7-0 run. Bryan got the double high staggered screen, passes to Buck. Quick release 3, no good. Rebounded by St. Mary's. McKay with the rebound.
Well, St. Mary's already picking it up, trying to double-team Jason Nunn, so that's really going to open things back up.
Now a blocking foul against Fly. The crowd thought for sure it should have been an offensive foul. Well, Forcadilla.
She's the one that's causing trouble for New Mexico right now. She's keeping things alive. People are not hitting their outside shots for St. Mary's, but she's been one that's penetrating, getting New Mexico in some foul trouble.
Lobos are going to sub in Sharice Bainan, and that's not a surprise. But how about this? Jaden De La Cerda has just checked in. De La Cerda played very sparing minutes all year, but she was working with the first team a lot at shoot-around today as the first free throw made by Forcadilla. She can definitely light it up. She's a very good scorer. And Mike Bradbury said in the pregame, we need somebody else to hit some shots besides our big 3. So we'll see if De La Cerda can do that.
Well, without Laparolari, right, you need that X factor. You need something, and I like it. You're bringing in the young. You're showing them the postseason play. Give them some opportunities to shine and try to make their way and get some momentum going into next year.
Forcadilla made both free throws. 17-10, New Mexico with the ball and leading by 7. Bainan Free throw line to Buck, who jumps to catch it, faces up, looking for Nunn, who's getting doubled to Washington. Ball fake, pull-up jumper is no good off the back rim, and St. Mary's grabs the ball, nearly lost it. Bana nearly poked it away. So the Gales have the chance for back-to-back baskets. Forcadia on the far side, guarded by De La Cerda. High ball screen. She fights over the top of it, then goes underneath it as they reset it. Forcadia kicks it back out to Holland, near side wing. Holland driving into the paint, bodied up by Banin. Turnaround jumper is good. And it's down to 17-12. New Mexico's lead is 5.
Well, that's where Holland just bodied up against Sharice Banin, gave a little bit of separation as she goes up for her shot.
And then Sharice Banin all the way to the basket. Some good dribbling, a good head fake. Got herself open for the layup. 19-12, New Mexico answers with the basket.
Well, that's Sharice just with that hesitation dribble, right with that right hand, and then takes it all the way in strong.
Now here's Holland driving into the paint, and she was tied up. The crowd wanted to travel. The Lobo bench wanted to travel, but they're going to say alternating possession, St. Mary's possession.
Well, now it's Sharice Banin, help side defense, right? Just comes over and just grabs the ball for that jump ball.
Again, they double team the inbounder, but St. Mary's gets it in easily. And here's Cotting with it, top of the way. Cotting, far side wing, double teamed, bounce pass, a tough pass, and then Buck just took it away, but it's going to be a jump ball, and this time the arrow favors the Lobos.
Hey, if you talk about heart right now, it's favoring the Lobos. I mean, they're in on every jump ball, playing scrappy, going after any loose ball that they can to get it to their possession.
It's been 9 days since they played, and I think you see an extra pep in their step because of the break that they got. Banin to Washington, near side wing to De La Cerda. Her three, in and out, had a good look, wasn't timid, fired away when she was open, but wouldn't go down.
Well, we've seen a lot of good looks, right? I mean, nothing's been air ball. It's been great on the basket, just in and out. Some of those will fall.
St. Mary's ball. New Mexico leads 19-12 about a minute to go, opening quarter. Nearly a steal by Buck. Here's Raggio driving, missing. Loose ball secured by St. Mary's. Cotting ends up with it. Swings it near side to Forcadia. Forcadia pass inside. That's another turnover. Well, St. Mary's' entry passes have not been good to the post.
Well, and that's 8 unofficial turnovers right there for St. Mary's, but that's good ball pressure right there to De La Cerda, right, coming up on, I think it was right there on Forcadia that was out on the right wing, that basically just a good closeout by De La Cerda to really force that pass in the air.
48 seconds and counting, opening quarter. About a 20-second differential shot clock and game clock. Banin uses a screen, drives to the paint, kick out. De La Cerda, her three, in and out. And another good look. Both of those so close to going down for De La Cerda. St. Mary's grabbed the rebound. About a 9-second differential shot clock, game clock. Holland has it, way away from the arc, guarded by Banin. 18 on the shot clock now. Here's Moy. Moy, bounce pass to a wide-open Cotting, who drives and lays it in off the glass. Somebody missed an assignment. And New Mexico's lead is 19-14. The Lobos will play for one shot.
Well, and that's definitely not the easy bucket you wanted to give up going into halftime, right? Make St. Mary's earn it, as defensively someone lost their man.
7 seconds. Here's Banin driving near side off the glass, no good, and a foul on St. Mary's. Somebody pushed Jason Nunn out of the way.
That's going to be on McKay, I believe. Basically just shoved Jason Nunn, who had the inside position there, to just push her down on the baseline.
That's the first on McKay. It's not a shooting foul. 3.8 seconds left. Banin will inbound. Buck and Nunn standing just below the near side left elbow. De La Cerda's at the free throw line, and Maddie Washington's right in the middle of the paint, just outside the restricted zone. They run a double screen for De La Cerda, circles back through along with Washington. Buck fakes a handoff to Banin, dribbles around with one, and I don't think she got the shot off in time. Did not. And that takes us to the end of the first quarter. After 10 minutes here inside the Johnson Center on the main campus, it's New Mexico 19, St. Mary's 14. This is Lobo basketball from Learfield. Court, stop in today.
Well, believe it or not, a lot of things favoring St. Mary's. 12 rebounds to 6 to New Mexico's rebounds. Also, St. Mary's shooting 55%, New Mexico 35% overall. And it's due to New Mexico missing so many three-point shots, 2 of 10 from three-pointers.
Difference, though, St. Mary's 9 turnovers, New Mexico only 1. St. Mary's basketball. Here's Holland driving into the paint, double-teamed, kick out, wide open. Forcadia in front of the Lobo bench, drains the three. And the Lobos' 5-point lead down to 2 now, 19-17. As we start the second quarter, Banin near side wing for Bryan, who's checked back in, hands it off to Buck, ball fake, driving Tisha all the way to the basket, missed the layup, rebounded by St. Mary's.
Well, Tisha right now is going against a 4 or 5. that's an opportunity around that three-point arc for her to really take it to the basket like she has.
Cotting drives past, stolen by Bainan, and as a couple of players tumble, the Lobos now have a 5-on-4 going the other way. Here's Bainan to Washington, wide open, steps into the three. Yes! Maddie Washington drains the three. Lobos lead it 22-17.
The Lobos now 3 of 11. That's Maddie Washington's first points of the night, but a huge indicator for New Mexico to hit that three-point shot.
Now a whistle. I didn't see why they called it on the shot clock.
Nope.
Shot clock's at 20, was at 29, now it's at 26. And meanwhile, St. Mary's is going to sub in 1, 2, 3 players.
I'm surprised they allow substitution on that, right? Where it is a score table type of situation, you'd think they'd allow, you'd have to wait for the next official dead ball.
St. Mary's leading scorer Stella Beck is back into the game. Pass goes to Raggio. Raggio bounce pass is stolen by Bainan. Ball's down on the ground, and it's going to be a tie-up. And on the alternating possession, it's going to be Lobo ball. Well, St. Mary's, and you looked at their turnovers, 18.5 per game, and they're now at 10 turnovers in this contest already.
Well, I'm not surprised they didn't call Holland for a foul on that, because Sharice Bainan got in the passing lane. I think Holland actually was the one that went after Sharice Bainan to get that ball even in her direction.
Lobo ball. Here's Washington to Buck, near side wing. Couple jab steps, instead back to Washington, top of the circle. Dribbles with the right hand to the far side. Leaves it for Bryan. Bryan the penetration, hand off to Buck. Head fake, driving, cut off. Right elbow pass goes to Bainan on the near side wing. Ball fake, and we got a whistle inside away from the ball.
They're going to call that on McKay again. McKay, that she'll be picking up her second personal foul.
So she has 2, and Stella Beck has 2. That's 2 of the 3 1,000-point scores that St. Mary's has, and again, 2 of them already have 2 fouls.
And that was Anderson posting up, doing a nice job, and I think Sharice Bainan doubted it whether she was going to throw it inside, but then the foul was called.
Linnea Bryan will inbound near side. Inbound goes to Bainan, near side wing, sweeps it through, gets to the free throw line, kicks it out to Buck. Open 3 is good. Tisha had plenty of time to set her feet, drains the 3. Lobos lead 25-17.
Well, you were thinking New Mexico's got to hit one of these, right? And Maddie Washington opening up the way for that for Tisha Buck to hit one at the top of the key.
The mini pit getting loud. St. Mary's ball, lob inside, good catch by McKay. Missed the layup, got her own offensive rebound. Bainan just stole it, ripped it out of her hands. Bainan the other way, hesitates, drives off the glass, no good. And St. Mary's grabs the rebound, back with the rebound.
What an exclamation point that would have been, right, for Sharice with the hesitation and a take on the basket.
And now we got a... I'm laughing because Tisha Buck got knocked down. The St. Mary's player went to help her up, and Tisha said, no, I don't want you to help me up. But the foul was somehow called against Buck.
But now, Buck's going to pick up her first personal foul on that one. The Lobos just having a little bit of chip on their shoulder, right?
Tisha plays with a chip on her shoulder, and I love it. Here's a whistle and a foul called against Bainan now. Pass went inside to Raggio. So that's the second on Bainan. And Bainan's going to come out, it looks like, at the 7:52 mark. India Fly's going to check in for her.
Bainan now leading the way for the Lobos. She's 4 of 9 from the field, 12 points as she goes to the bench.
So here is Sydney Raggio, St. Ignatius High School in San Bruno, California. That's the San Francisco Peninsula. Makes the first of 2. She's a lefty. She surpassed the 1,000 career point total in this, her junior year, January 27th at Portland. The lefty's second free throw is also good. Made them both. 25-19. New Mexico leads by 6.
Well, and you see the difference right there. Holland, obviously, one of their better defenders, too, stepping out at the same time as Sharice Bainan.
So for the Lobos, it's Bryan who'll be running the point. Also Buck, Fly, Washington, and Anderson, the 5 on the floor. Bryan leaves it for Fly on the far side. Now here's Washington. Washington drives into the paint, pull up, 13-footer is a little short, tipped, and tracking it down to Fly to save it, but St. Mary's will corral it. And the Gales going the other way. It's a 3-on-3. Back weaving into the paint, stops at the block, kicks it back out. Raggio passes inside and through the hands of Ferguson, but still St. Mary's ball. Well,
and Ferguson just turned with her left hand. I really don't feel like Lobos had any kind of but really just fumbled through her hands as it went out of bounds. The officials saw a little bit more on the baseline.
16 on the shot clock. Focadia to inbound. Pass is nearly stolen. Now stolen by Washington. It's a breakaway. Nobody's close to her. An uncontested layup is good. Maddie Washington the steal in the 2. New Mexico leads 27-19.
I mean, talk about Maddie Washington taking her time, right? Like, I am not going to miss this layup. She slows down her dribble, really takes it in, chooses the left-hand side with her dominant hand, and goes with the left-hand layup.
So an 8-point lead for the Lobos. And now pass inside is going to lead to another turnover. They tried to go over the top. Focadia's pass was too high, and now Raggio and Buck just kind of bump shoulders. Buck is clapping her hands and smiling. The crowd's getting on Raggio. It's getting chippy on the court.
I'm surprised officials didn't even say anything to either player on that when you saw that. I mean, that was a lot of intentional going at each other kind of situation.
Lobos looking for a double-digit lead. 27-19 is the score now. 6:52 to go until halftime. Nunn has stepped out the free throw line to Washington, near side wing. Washington, here's Buck. Buck's at the free throw line. One dribble looking inside, swings it to Fly, near side baseline, ball step, drives, pass, throws it up high for Nunn. Tough catch, one dribble, kick out. Bryan, her 3, no good. Linnea's 0 for 3 on three-pointers, rebounded by St. Mary's is Cotting. Cotting to Beck. Here's Beck in the paint. Nice drive all the way to the basket and scores. Stella Beck, the senior.
I mean, she kind of just held that on her hip, right, with the 1-2 and then take it up. And surprised she was able to actually bring that off of her hip as she took it on that right side.
Lobos ball leading 27-21 over St. Mary's. Buck still looking inside for Nunn. Now puts it on the floor. She's driving on the far side and traveled. Couldn't keep her pivot foot. And now Buck and Raggio are still continuing to talk to one another. It's getting heated between those two. And now Mike Bradbury trying to make sure that Buck is calm enough.
So they're giving Buck, I think, a little bit of a warning, but you got to look at both sides. I mean, that shoulder flop earlier was completely Raggio just coming at Tisha Buck. So either way, both of them are guarding each other man-to-man as Raggio steps out. Nice little break for them.
Lobos have just gone to a 1-3-1 half-court press with Washington at the top, Bucks in the middle, Nuns at the back, and Bryan and Flyer on the sides, the wings. Here's an open baseline 3 that is no good. Hung on the rim 3 times, rebounded by Buck for the Lobos. So they actually got a pretty open look there on that three-pointer. Here's Bryan, far side wing to Buck. Buck, her 3 is no good. Had a decent look, rebounded by St. Mary's. Here's Beck the other direction, playing with 2 fouls, the leading scorer for St. Mary's. Pass goes to Rathbun. Rathbun about to get double team. Pass is kicked by Bryan. Still St. Mary's ball. Anderson in, and Tisha Buck's going to go out.
Probably a smart move, right? Yeah. Let her cool off a little bit, see the game differently, especially after missing that 3-point shot. Really would have been a great opportunity. You just had Jason Nunn one-on-one on the block. The Lobos did not go inside to her. Probably would have been a good time to do that.
Also Bainan back in. She's at the top of this 1-3-1 half-court trap. Here's Holland to Beck on the far side wing. Back to Holland, free throw line. Back out to Beck. Good ball fake. Now drives, gets cut off. Little float over Anderson's no good, but a foul is called on Antonia Anderson.
And Anderson will be picking up her third personal foul. She's only been in the game 5 minutes. 3 fouls for Anderson.
We'll see if she remains on the floor. I saw that Tisha Buck was just kind of looking down to the bench like, hey, coach, you want to put me back in? I'm here. You can put me in if you want. So here's Beck to shoot 2. First one is no good. She's from New Zealand. First team all West Coast Conference last year and this year. A lot of international experience. She was the freshman of the year for the WCC a few years back, made the second free throws, had a decorated career. New Mexico leads 27-22 with the ball, 5:15 to go in the second quarter. Anderson remains in the game, far side wing, hands it off to Bryan. Bryan dribbles to the free throw line, kicks it out to Fly. Fly with the right-hand dribble, backing in, steps through, goes up and missed the shot, but gets her own offensive rebound. Back out to Bryan, swings to Bainan. Bainan looking inside, ball fake, drives, kick out. Anderson thought about the 3, instead drives, tried to pass to Nunn, and an offensive foul called against Anderson, which will be her 4th. And Tisha Buck's going to check in for her.
Oh, really? And I mean, Anderson and the Lobos in this first half, only 5 against St. Mary's, but St. Mary's has only shot 50% from that free throw line. New Mexico has only been to the line 3 times.
Bainan has 2, Fly has 2, Anderson has 4. Nunn and Buck have 1 in the foul situation. St. Mary's ball, trailing 27-22. Cotting driving to the left elbow, and now here's Moy Back over near side to Cotting. They swing it near side baseline for Holland's three. That is no good. And Nunn grabs the rebound for the Lobos. Well, again, Holland is their best three-point shooter. She had a good look there. She's missed a couple when she was open. Here's Bainan driving far side to Fly, top of the way to Buck. Buck's back in. Looks inside, pass to Nunn. Nunn catch, kick out, Bainan, quick release three. Got it! Cherise Bainan looking at the St. Mary's bench after she drains that three. Must have heard something. It's 30-22 Lobos.
Well, how about that? Jason Nunn just getting doubled left and right on that block, and New Mexico's got to figure out a way to make those threes just like Cherise Bainan just did.
Cotting to Holland, swings it far side to Beck. Beck back near side to Holland. Holland in the paint, driving to the block, missed the shot. Loose ball, offensive rebound, lost. Loose ball, it'll still be St. Mary's ball.
But great effort on the stop by New Mexico right there. Continuing, you saw two Lobo players going after the ball, not one of St. Mary's even trying to tackle to see where that ball was going to land.
3:50 remains until halftime. The Lobos have double-teamed the inbounder every time tonight. Hasn't led to any turnovers yet. Close to a 5-second there as they inbound it to Cotting, top of the way. Baseline to Holland, near side to Beck. Beck right back to Holland on the baseline against this 1-3-1 zone. Here's a very high-arcing three, way off the mark. Lobos get the rebound. Cotting's three wasn't close. Bainan sprinting the other direction, all the way to the basket, and missed the layup. Rebounded by St. Mary's.
Well, Cherise was smart in the fact that she picked it up early, right? She didn't want to pick up that third personal foul, but at the same time, St. Mary's was right there to apply the pressure, ready to take the full on as Cherise Bainan brought it down.
And now another turnover for St. Mary's, a carrying violation on Stella Beck.
That's 14 turnovers for St. Mary's. New Mexico only with 3 turnovers.
That's a huge factor in this game right now. Bainan has it on the far side wing, dribbling about waist high. Now picks up the dribble, and we're going to have an offensive foul called against Nunn.
Wow.
That was way away from the ball.
That didn't even make sense. You had 33 fall down and basically just take Jason Nunn out. Probably a little dangerous to hit her in the back of the leg the way she did. Really a missed call by the official in that situation. There was not even a screen by Jason Nunn on that.
So that's the second on Nunn. 3:14 and counting here until halftime. New Mexico leads 30-22. St. Mary's ball. Holland, baseline to Akegbu Cleveland. Her jumper is good. Joy Akegbu Cleveland, who just checked in, hits the jumper. New Mexico's leads down to 6, 30-24.
And an awkward shot, right? She brings it up around her ear and then shoots it super high and away from her body, but gets one to go in on the baseline.
Lobo ball, Fly leaves it for Buck. Head fake, driving into the paint. Tisha finishes inside. Tisha Buck with the basket. It's 32-24 Lobos.
And Tisha Buck now with 7 points on the game. She's gone 3 of 7 from the field. Nice drive with her left hand. Pull up with her right.
St. Mary's ball. Beck, baseline to Holland. Her baseline three, no good. Nunn grabs the rebound. Outlet to Bainan. Lobos looking to push. Let's see. Here's Bainan driving and swings it to De La Cerda. There should be Bryan. Got it! Linnea Bryan the three. 35-24 Lobos.
Well, Cherise Bainan just takes it and has the defense completely collapse on her as she skips past it to Linnea Bryan on the left side.
Largest lead for the Lobos. Cross-court pass and a foul called on the Lobos Fly. And the crowd is irate.
Well, and that was great defense. I mean, India Fly came, contested the closeout. The issue with that is now India Fly now with her 4th personal foul on the game. I mean, so by the second half, you have 12 personal fouls against the Lobos, 5 against St. Mary's.
So Fly goes out. Maddie Washington back in. It's Bryan, Bainan, Washington, Buck, and Nunn on the floor. First free throw is short by Beck. And now the second one from Beck as the crowd gets into it, shooting right into waving arms. Missed both free throws. St. Mary's has struggled from the line. Nunn the rebound. Here's Bainan pushing tempo. Bainan leaves it for Buck. Wide open three, in and out. Nunn an offensive rebound. Tied up, and some harsh glares, but no contact between Nunn and Ferguson.
I think the fans might have built that one up a little bit more, right?
Yeah, good call, partner.
I mean, you had Ferguson just going at Jason Nunn. It was just a good play, right? Jason Nunn gets a great offensive rebound, has to bring it back down some way to her chin, and St. Mary's is right there to get in on the action.
Still the Mexico ball, 1:57 left until halftime. Bainan will inbound on the right side of the basket. 35-24, Lobos by 11. Inbound goes to Buck. Buck to Nunn. Nunn backing in left side and missed the shot. A rare miss from Nunn. And another turnover by St. Mary's, and it's going to be Lobo ball. Two Gales players got confused about who was going to touch it, who was inbounds and out of bounds, and the Lobos benefit from it.
Well, and Charisse stayed right there just as a little fly, right? Like to know that I'm here, so they got a little bit rushed on trying to grab that ball as it was out of bounds.
Inbound goes to Bryan. Bryan dribbles far side wing to Buck. Buck looks inside for Nunn, who wasn't really ready for it, and it leads to a turnover. And so St. Mary's with the basketball, 140 and counting. Here's Beck, near side wing, throws it far side, extra pass, pull-up jumper on the baseline is good by Raggio. That stops a Lobo 5-0 run. Lobos still lead 35-26.
And Raggio just went on that baseline, right? It was just a one-handed shot, didn't even have her guide hand up as she loops that up for a shot.
Tisha Buck with it, far side wing, skip pass, Washington open, three, yes! Maddie Washington drains the three, 38-26 New Mexico.
Well, New Mexico really has picked up their three-point shooting, 7 of 18 on the game at 39%.
Beck, extra pass to Cotting. Cotting near side, bounce goes to Raggio, far side to Holland. Her three is no good, and a offensive rebound by the Gales. Missing was Raggio. Another putback, and this one is going to lead to free throws as Beck was fouled. What are they going to get?
They're going to call Jason Nunn.
So that's her second.
Jason Nunn picking up her second personal foul.
So Bainan 2, Buck 2, Nunn 2, Fly 4, and Anderson 4 for the Lobos.
I've never seen fouls like this before, like in a first half, 13-6 between the two. But that boils down to New Mexico just did not block out, right? Yeah. Two opportunities for St. Mary's where a foul should not even been picked up if you just turn around and block out your player.
Nunn goes to the bench, 52.7 seconds left until halftime. Want to make sure she doesn't get her third. Emily Lines is checked in. Both free throws converted by Beck. So it's a 10-point lead for the Lobos, 38-28. So the five on the floor for the Lobos. Buck, Bainan, Lines, Washington, Bryan. About a 22-second differential shot clock, game clock. Bainan sprinting all the way to the basket, draws contact, and she's going to shoot two free throws.
Well, and there's been a lot of contact on Charisse the entire time. Anytime she's driving to the basket, normally they say on a guard drive, you got to be completely hands off, right? Charisse has faced that quite a bit. She goes up, wouldn't have made the basket, but got the foul picked up.
Well, that's one of those where the Lobos look for a 2-for-1, where Bradbury yells out quick, because he wants a quick shot so you can get the last shot. There's about an 18-second differential now, so the Lobos a chance as Bainan hit the first for two of the last three possessions. And also made the second. Charisse has played really well. 40-28, Lobos lead by 12 with 45 seconds to go until halftime. Zone defense for the Lobos. Forcadilla to Raggio, baseline to Ikigbu Cleveland. Shot is missed off the side of the backboard. Lobos grab the rebound, and Bradbury says, hold it up.
Well, still a little bit of difference between the shot clock and game clock. That'll leave St. Mary's with a little bit of time between the shot clock and game clock. Probably about 2 seconds, 3 seconds.
5 seconds or so. Bainan holding it near midcourt. Ikegbu Cleveland just way off her. 10 seconds on the shot clock now. She's on the near side wing is Bainan. Bainan sizes her up. Back spins into the paint. Little shot is no good. Got her own rebound and missed the putback. St. Mary's grabs the rebound with 6 seconds. Forcadilla across midcourt. Inside the arc. All the way to the basket. Was fouled with 1.4 seconds left.
Just not a smart play, right? I mean, lay off. That was going to be a hard shot. She was even coming in from her hip to kind of lay it up. Keep the body off. You got to play smarter on that situation, although St. Mary's has not shot the free throw well this first half. Only 8 of 16 at 50%.
And making the first free throw was Forcadilla.
Forcadilla kind of the glue of this team. I mean, she leads the way with every single ball handling, all intensity, and good drives.
Second free throw also good. 40-30. New Mexico's lead is 10. Inbound goes to Bryan. Bryan will not get the shot off in time. It was about three-quarter court. And that has taken us to halftime. The Lobos never trailed in the first half here at Johnson Center. Their largest lead was 11, and their halftime
send some vibes down to the Lobos' way, right?
Both teams with their starting five. Actually, Maddie Washington will start the third quarter because India Fly still has 4 fouls. So same starting five for St. Mary's: Forcadilla, Holland, Raggio, Beck, McKay for the Lobos, Bainan, Bryan, Buck, Nunn, and Washington. St. Mary's basketball is the crowd on their feet clapping their hands. Forcadilla near side wing. St. Mary's is going right to left as we see it in the second half. Forcadilla near side wing gets a high ball screen, keeps the dribble. Now to Holland. Holland guarded by Bryan. 10 on the shot clock. Here's Beck driving all the way to the basket and missed the shot. Offensive rebound and a foul called Raggio with the offensive rebound, and they're going to get Sharice Bainan.
They're going to be Bainan. That's going to be her third personal foul, and that goes back to not blocking out, right? You got to clear the area. New Mexico's in that man-to-man defense. There's no excuse for that. You're not in the zone anymore. New Mexico's got to find their man to block out. Instead, 12 comes right through for St. Mary's Raggio to get that rebound.
Raggio's a lefty, and she misses the first of two. Again, that was a problem for the Gales in the first half, made just 10 of 18.
And Raggio's know to pick up the offense. She averages almost 3 offensive rebounds a game.
Her second free throw, no good off the back rim, but she got her own offensive rebound. Nobody blocked out the screener, but then she threw it away off a teammate's hands. So costly mistake by both teams. No one blocked out the shooter, and then
That's
just a silly
kind of like
turnover.
second grade basketball, like who's got shooter, right? The free throw line.
Bainan will play off the ball. Linnea Bryan will initiate the offense. They've got Bainan sort of posting up at the elbow. Now she's got it top of the circle, driving all the way to the basket, contact, and, well, it wouldn't have counted even if it went through the net.
Wow, and I thought that roll was going to come back. Just a little bit too much of an umph on as it came off the basket.
Fouls on Forcadilla.
They're going to call it on the floor.
Yeah, no shooting foul. Bainan to inbound on the left side, the far side. Inbounds to Bryan. Bryan dribbles into the paint, now slows it up, backs it out to Bainan. Quick release, contested three. It's an air ball. Nunn, an offensive rebound. Count it! What a play by Nunn! She went, and then she's holding her left elbow. She's in some pain right now. She jumped up high to catch it, and then I think
over the
arm,
top of McKay, who's going to pick up her third personal foul, and her elbow came back down on McKay's head. Whew, way to go up and get that. I mean, that's kind of like a wide receiver going up to get that pass, right? Didn't wait for it. I don't think McKay even knew it was coming.
Nunn at the free throw line. I see her parents standing watching closely, and she hits the free throw. 43-30. New Mexico leads by 13 over St. Mary's. An entertaining opening minute of this third quarter. There's Forcadilla dribbling the ball near the logo, near midcourt, nearly traveled. Gets into Raggio. Raggio far side to Forcadilla. Lob pass tipped by Nunn out of bounds. Still St. Mary's ball, but a good job by Nunn jumping in the air to deflect that pass.
All vision was in to throw it into McKay, right? And great job by Sharice being their help side and Jason Nunn just getting off the player to hit that ball.
Lobos again double team the inbounder. Raggio's pass tries to do a skip jump pass. It's going to lead to a turnover. Lobos in transition the other direction. Here's Bainan with shooters both ways to Washington. Thought about the three, instead drives. Kick out. Buck wide open. Her three short. Well short. Rebounded by St. Mary's Holland. Gales the other direction, 2-on-3. Holland wants to take it all the way to the basket. Her shot over Bryan's no good. Nunn grabs the rebound, finds Bainan. Lobos looking to go the other way. It's a 3-on-3. Bainan hesitates, kick out to Buck, near side wing. Bryan top of the way. Lobos will set up some offense. Inside to Nunn. Nunn turns around and scores two more. Jason Nunn going to work as we start the third quarter. 45-30 New Mexico.
And I never know how Jason does not get more fouls called against the defender right there, because she came down and McKay was completely over the top of her as she was going to the basket.
And they just got Nunn with a foul. Away
How
from
can
the
you
ball.
have all that contact on one side and they come down and it's just a little bit of contact and they call it on Jason Nunn?
I think the official said that she pushed her out of the way, so Nunn picks up her third. Inbound goes to Forcadilla. Her three no good. Another offensive rebound. That one's missed by McKay, and now we're going to have a foul against St. Mary's. So the Gales got two shots,
They're
missed
going
them
to call
both.
that on Holland. She'll be picking up her first personal foul. Great, good job. Tisha Buck needed to stay in there, right? It's a fight around that rebounding area. You've got to come down strong with that ball.
Lobos lead by 15, 45-30 with the ball. Bainan dribbles to the far side elbow, hands it off to Bryan. Bryan dribbling, spinning in the paint, kick out to Buck. Buck looks inside, pass to Nunn. One dribble and lost the handle of it. Ends up in the arms of a St. Mary's player. Here's Forcadilla dribbling into the paint, shake and bake down to the block. Throws it back out over the head of a teammate. Holland will track it down at midcourt and just barely gets it back to Forcadilla, nearly over and back. Good job by Holland to save that. Now here's Beck driving all the way to the basket. Step through, missed the layup. Offensive rebound by McKay. Missed that one. Got a rebound again. Missed that one. Got another rebound and was fouled. Unbelievable. What was that, 4 chances, 5 chances?
Well, you had Jason. I mean, basically, it goes down to Jason Nunn's the only one in there trying to get a big board. Nobody's blocking out a player, and then the guard's got to get in there, right? I mean, it can't just be arms up straight to go for a board.
Problem is, sometimes you get pinned under the basket,
And
and, the other player's going to keep getting the rebound as long as they keep missing in the same location,
Yeah,
which is the case there.
And you don't have the time to actually, back up and push them out. But Whew.
McKay,
Someone's got to get in there and make a difference.
McKay hit the first free throw. Now the second one for the Australian native is also good. 45-32. New Mexico leads by 13.
And 29-19 in rebounding difference.
That's not good. It's now minus 10 for the Lobos. Their ball. Bryan near side wing. They're trying to set up Nunn at the block. It wasn't there. Buck top of the way looks inside. Pass goes out of bounds. It's going to be St. Mary's ball. There was a lot of velocity on that pass from Buck to Nunn.
And we've seen that a lot with Tisha. She's had that issue trying to get into Jason where it's just a bullet every single time.
Forcadia gets a high ball screen from McKay. Keeps the dribble near side wing. Now picks up the dribble. Looks inside. Cut off. Top of the way to Beck. Beck wants a high ball screen. Gets it. Driving into the paint all the way to the basket. Missed the layup. Got her own offensive rebound and scores. The Lobos are getting killed inside on the boards. 45-34. New Mexico's leads down to 11. Here's Bainan on the drive all the way to the basket. She scores 2 to answer.
And that was a much-needed bucket right there as Jason Nunn gets caught way behind on trailing back as 25 McKay just gets the left-handed rebound and a good pass from St. Mary's guard.
Yeah, McKay just beat everyone down the floor. Here's Bainan trying to answer. Gets the foul. Counted as it goes down. Charisse Bainan a chance for a three-point play.
And that was over the top of Forcadia, who basically just picked up her second personal foul. Very athletic move, goes with her left hand, and just skies high with some athleticism, shoots with her right hand over the top of Forcadia.
Charisse Bainan with 21 in the game, the lead all scorers, trying to make it 22, as she will shoot 1.
Well, right now, what? 2 players for New Mexico, double figures, 21 for Bainan, 10 for Nunn. On the other side of that, only 1 player in double figures for St. Mary's, and that's Forcadia with 10, who's on the bench now.
Probably heard the crowd cheering. Bainan made the free throw. 50-36. Lobos lead is back up to 14. And now here is Beck driving and scoring on the far side. A high arcing shot off the backboard. 50-38, high scoring third quarter. 6:10 to go still. Here's Buck, far side of Washington, wide open. Maddie's 3 is short and rebounded by St. Mary's. Ferguson the rebound, the outlet to Beck. Between Beck and Buck, I probably have said the wrong name a couple of times. Beck's got it near side wing. Bainan fights to the screen. Beck drives and scores. Stella Beck's heating up, back-to-back baskets for her. She's their leading scorer. Lobos ball, leading 50-40. Bainan quick release 3, barely hit the rim. That was probably not a good shot, forced it. Now St. Mary's the other direction. Here's Beck. She scored 2 in a row. Now steps through and lays it in. That's 3 in a row for Beck.
Well, and this is where you need a little bit more composure. Great job by Bradbury. He's about to call a timeout. New Mexico needed that probably a minute ago, where you saw St. Mary's just taking over a little bit from their guards with no defense in sight to really stop Beck that needed to be stopped to the basket.
Media timeout at the critical stretch for the Mexico Lobos. About a minute and a half ago, they were leading by 14, then missed 3 straight shots. St. Mary's scored 3 straight shots, all by Stella Beck, so it's now New Mexico 50, St. Mary's 42. Lobos ball, 5:25 to go, third quarter. Bainan with it, near side wing to Washington. Washington as they weave to Bryan. Bryan near side wing, throws it back the other direction to Buck. Buck top of the way to Bryan, near side wing to Bainan. Here's a 3 ball, that one's no good. And Bainan gets her own offensive rebound, charging in off the glass, gets contact, a foul. Missed the shot, but 2 free throws for Charisse Bainan.
And that'll be on Ferguson, so picking up her 3rd personal foul. And Charisse just felt it short. You could tell she goes in for that offensive rebound, does a spin move on the right side around Ferguson and takes it to the basket. You really need some of those and ones, though. She's right there, and you're just hoping by this 4th quarter she figures it out and gets some of those.
First free throw was good. Reminder to Lobo basketball fans, start earning points toward game tickets with Coors Light XP. Download it from the App Store today. Remember, 21 means 21.
And very smart keeping Jason Nunn out of the rebounding right there against a Charisse Bainan free throw, just to not allow any type of foul to come Jason Nunn's way.
Bainan made both free throws. Lobos back to a 1-3-1 zone, leading by 10, 52-42. St. Mary's ball. Beck doesn't want to shoot the 3, instead goes to Cotting. Cotting driving baseline on the near side. Cut off to Beck. Free throw line to Holland. Holland back to Cotting. Her 3 is no good. Another offensive rebound. This one by Beck, and she's fouled. And she's going to shoot 2 free throws. Who'd they get?
I'm thinking they're going to pick up Jason Nunn, but I think, yeah, they're going to call that on Jason Nunn.
That's her 4th. Fly also back in, so they both have 4 fouls.
Well, and that's where you take the risk, right? You're going in that zone, that 1-3-1, which is going to leave a little bit of open inning rebounding, but you got to have a monster around that basket to pick up boards.
Beck at the free throw line hits the first. Beck has scored the last 7 points for the Gales. And hits the second free throw, make it the last 8 points for the Gales. New Mexico's lead is 8, 52-44, 4:45 to go third quarter. Bainet, far side wing to Fly. Fly, near side wing to Washington. Washington as they weave around the perimeter near the far side elbow to Bainet. Quick release three is good. Cherise Bainet drains the three, a big one for her and the Lobos. Back up to an 11-point lead, 55-44.
Well, Cherise, there was no doubt, right? She grabs that ball from a quick pass and just takes it up for that three-point shot on the left side.
St. Mary's ball back to Holland against the 1-3-1. Holland bounce pass to Beck at the free throw line, dribbles around Buck and lays it in. So Beck over Buck, and the Lobos lead is 55-46.
Beck doesn't really have that jump shot. She just takes it to the hole, that 1-2 up, and a little hipster coming up with her layup and lays it in.
Here's Fly driving all the way to the basket and scores. India Fly answers. 57-46, Lobos by 11. Now here's Beck again all the way to the basket. Pass to McKay, off her body. It's on the ground. She picks it up, missed the shot, gets her own rebound, and scores that one. Yet another offensive rebound for St. Mary's. 57-48, Lobos lead by 9, although it doesn't feel that way right now. Here's three by Buck. It's no good. Quick release off the back rim. St. Mary's a little bit of momentum because of all these offensive rebounds. 3:33 to go third quarter. Holland, skip pass to Beck. Her three is no good, and the Lobos get a rebound. Buck jumped high to get that board.
Oh, and that was big, right? I mean, anytime they got St. Mary's where they want them. Take that outside shot. They're much better when they're going and driving for that 2-point shot.
Here's Fly, near side wing. Dribbles top of the circle. Crosses back over. Far side to Bainet. Great ball fake. Bainet got bumped. Lost it. Got it back. Feeds Anderson for a wide open layup. Evergard assist for Bainet. 59-48 New Mexico.
What a big play. I mean, Cherise just got bumped. No foul called by the official as Cherise plays through it. Hits a wide open Anderson.
Here's Connie, near side wing. Had an open three, didn't want to take it. Instead, pass goes to Ferguson, throws it back out near midcourt, trying to save this back. She can't. It's another turnover for St. Mary's.
And that's a big stop by New Mexico, right? They kept that zone in play, really have fought through it. But here's the thing, New Mexico has continued to score, which has kept that gap against St. Mary's and giving up those offensive rebounds.
Gales got it down to 8. The Lobos have it back up to 11 and have the ball. 2:40 and counting as the Lobos use a little bit of clock here. Set their players up in position. The double staggered screen. Anderson and Buck set it for Bainet. Dribbles to the near side wing. Throws to Fly. Fly to Washington. Washington back to Fly, top of the way. Well defended by St. Mary's. Here's Fly driving. Cut off, blocked. A lot of contact, no foul. St. Mary's going the other direction. There is Beck on the baseline. Pass is knocked out of bounds by Buck.
And probably kept it by surprise, right? I mean, Buck got hit right in the hands as she was continuing her motion down on the left-hand block of St. Mary's. Kind of surprised it was so easily thrown to her.
Cotting will inbound. 2:16 left third quarter. Bounce pass goes to Beck. Now to Raggio. Raggio at the free throw line against over Buck. It's good. 59-50. Lobos lead is 9. 2:06 to go. Here's Bainet to Washington on the far side. Here's her three. Had a good look at it. Missed the shot. Anderson tipped it alive. Back out to Washington. Lobos get a second opportunity. Bainet top of the circle. Jab step with the right foot. Now slices up the defense. Leaves it for Fly. Fly on the perimeter. Spinning. Up and under with the left hand. Missed the shot. And St. Mary's grabs this rebound. McKay the rebound.
Great move. Just needed a little bit of finish, right? Great up and under with her left hand. Just a little bit off of the basket.
St. Mary's basketball. Here's Raggio. Contact with Bainet, no foul. Good thing for the Lobos there wasn't a foul. Now they swing it near side to Cotting. Cotting dribbles toward the baseline. Bumped by Buck, throws it back out. Here's a three by Raggio. It's an air ball, wasn't close. Raggio's 3 of 11 on threes all year. Lengthy outlet to Washington. Washington scans the defense. Pass inside to Anderson. Anderson on the block. Goes up off the glass, no good, but was fouled. They're going to get McKay with the foul. And 2 free throws for Antonia Anderson, who Nikki initially looked a little hesitant, unsure, and then just decided, all right, let's go up with this thing.
Well, now McKay's going to pick up her 4th personal foul. That's going to at least kind of cancel out the Jason Nunn versus McKay. Granted, I'm still a big Jason Nunn over the top right there, but that's huge. Antonia Anderson didn't back down, right? Turned kind of squared up in the air to take that shot off.
So McKay will check out with those 4 fouls. So out of the 3 1,000-point scorers for St. Mary's, only one of them on the floor, and that's Beck, who has been instrumental in this third quarter in keeping St. Mary's into the game and trying to inch away against the Lobos' lead. Anderson's first free throw is short, hit the front rim.
Really flat, right? I mean, it came off of her finger, just really low. Needs to be a little bit more at our second high level. Got to put a little bit of arch on that shot.
Anderson 63% on the season. She doesn't line straight up. She's slightly to the right, hits the second one.
She hurt us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to put a little arch on it right there.
So Anderson, the last 3 points for the Lobos, who lead at 60-50. St. Mary's ball. Back with it, top of the circle. Looking right, now passes left, nearly a turnover into the arms of Rothman. Now driving baseline, little floater by Raggio's no good. Offensive rebound by Raggio, and we're going to get an offensive foul as she lowered the shoulder, knocked down Tisha Buck, and the foul going the other way against St. Mary's New Mexico ball.
And believe it or not, I think that's Raggio's first personal foul as much as we've seen her, but she just dug her head down, and Tisha Buck just got thrown back on that foul.
And she's going to come out. They bring Akegbu Cleveland back in. 53.5 seconds left, third quarter. New Mexico ball leading by 10. Bryan has it near side wing. St. Mary's has played man the whole way. High ball screen, and now back to Buck. Her three near side wing is no good. And coming back for the rebound was Beck for St. Mary's. About a 9-second differential, shot clock, game clock. Beck drives into the paint, little floater, no good. And a loose ball. St. Mary's ends up with it. I think two Lobos had their hands on it, might have taken it away from one another. And so St. Mary's gets the basket. The Lobos will play for the last shot.
Well, and that's what you can't have, right? You talked about it early in the pregame show. You've got to grab the ball. Don't assume the next person has it or tip it. Go after the ball, keep it, and go strong with it. New Mexico just really soft right there on trying to get the defensive rebound.
10 seconds left. Bryan uses the staggered screen. Here's Tisha Buck, far side Washington. Baseline three was blocked. Anderson has it on the ground, tie up, loose ball, scramble, and that's going to take us to the end of the third quarter. 10 minutes remain in the opening round of the WNIT. The score, New Mexico 60, St. Mary's 52. This is Lobo basketball from their field. One quarter remains here from the Johnson Center. New Mexico the lead 60-52 over St. Mary's, first round of the WNIT. Emily Lyons has checked in for the Lobos along with Sharice Bainin, Linnea Bryan, Jason Nunn back in with 4 fouls, and Maddie Washington. Lobos by 8, last quarter of this game. Bainin far side with the dribble to Lyons. Lyons, quick release three is no good. Nunn offensive rebound. Nunn the putback. Jason Nunn immediately with an impact. Lobos leads back up to 10.
And she got lucky on that, right? Right over the top of St. Mary's, but really not offensive, but just has to be careful on those. Continues to play hard even when she's got the 4 fouls.
Beck swings it near side to Holland. Holland driving baseline, wraparound pass. Barely got it to her teammate. Here is Rathman. Extra pass goes to an open Holland, who hits the 3. Madeline Holland's been pretty quiet. She's their best shooting three-pointer at 43%. New Mexico's leads down to 62-55. Lobos ball. Bryan near side wing to Washington. Washington to the free throw line for Lines. Lines near side wing, hand off to Bryan. Bryan dribbles to the free throw line to keep weaving around the perimeter. Here's Washington, crosses over through the leg dribble into the paint. Off balance shot, no good. Too strong off the backboard. St. Mary's gets the stop and the rebound. Here's the Gales in transition. Back, bounce pass to an open Holland. Her three in and out. Loose ball on the floor. The Lobos pick it up. Might have a chance in transition basket. Here's Bainan, 1-on-3, all the way to the basket. Sharice scores two more.
Well, and I'm not sure how Holland gets away with that. Completely just jab Sharice Bainan at half court. No foul call, but Sharice makes him pay with that right-handed take to the basket.
Now with three by Rothman. Baseline three, no good. And Nunn had it, lost it into the arms of Lines. A couple of Lobos got bumped heavily. Nunn got knocked down as she was basically handing it to Lines. Here's Bainan driving, kick out, and a travel is called.
And Sharice looked pretty set on that pivot foot. Big surprise call. I know it might have looked some way different, but she came with that same pivot foot and hit Linnea Bryan out for that shot. They're going to call a travel on it.
Emily Lines back out. And so is Bryan. So Fly back in, Buck back in. So let's see. For the Lobos, it's Bainan, Washington, Fly, Buck, and Nunn. The five on the floor. 8:20 to go. Lobos lead 64-55. St. Mary's ball. Zone defense. Pass to Rothman. Thought about the three. Drives to the near side wing to Holland. Holland, far side to Beck. Back to Holland. She's now in the paint. Little floater over. None is good. Penetrated that zone. Lobos leads down to 7. 64-57.
Oh, and that was a really easy shot right there for St. Mary's. New Mexico just not containing their areas that they needed to in order to make that a hard shot.
Now here's Fly driving to the paint, throws it back out to Bainan. Her three, high arcing, is no good. And rebounded by St. Mary's. McKay the rebound. Chance for the Gales to cut it closer. They're down 7. Back, far side baseline, driving, bounce pass. McKay wide open, lays it in. Way too easy. And the Lobos lead is back down to 5. Closest St. Mary's has been in a long time. 64-59, and the Lobos want a timeout. This will be the media timeout, the final media timeout. 7 minutes, 28 seconds remain, fourth quarter. New Mexico 64, St. Mary's 59. This is Lobo basketball.
18 for St. Mary's, 7 for New Mexico. This last 7-minute stretch has got to be huge by New Mexico, taking care of the ball and getting some big steals. They need to do a little bit of separation against St. Mary's. St. Mary's shots have been very easy the last couple minutes. New Mexico's defense got to make them work, make them harder shots.
Lobos ball. They're really good coming out of timeouts usually. Buck has it top of the circle, looking inside for Nunn. They feed it to her, faces up, dribbles around one defender. Really tough shot. Somehow it goes down. 66-59 Lobos. Long outlet through the hands of McKay. Beck forced it, shouldn't have thrown it. It's a turnover in Lobo ball.
Well, they were thinking they had Jason Nunn after that left-handed shot of desperation she made. She was on the baseline, had to completely just bust a move down the floor to try to catch up with St. Mary's on that long pass.
I don't know how Nunn even got that shot off.
I don't either.
Bainan walks it up. High post to Buck. Faces up. Straightens up. Ball above her head. Can't dribble if she wants. Off a screen to Bainan. Bainan ball fake. Jab step. Couple of dribbles inside the arc to Washington. Washington driving into the paint. Throws it over to Fly. Ball fake. Drive. Throws it over near side to Washington. Now Washington penetrating again. Little floater is no good. Off balance jumper from about 8 feet. No good. Rebounded by St. Mary's. Lobos by 7. 66-59. 6.5 minutes remain. Fourth quarter. Beck wants a high ball screen. Tells her other teammate, get out of my way. Driving all the way to the basket. Nobody picked her up, and she missed the layup. But another offensive blocked, but a foul called. Raggio, the offensive rebound. And Tisha Buck with the foul. Her second.
Well, New Mexico had him exactly where they wanted. A wide open shot by Beck. I think it was Raggio that took it. I'm not sure which player from St. Mary's took it with their left hand. Missed the layup. New Mexico had an opportunity to just get a stop right there and take it the other way.
Raggio hits the first free throw. Down to a 6-point lead with another free throw on the way. Mike Bradbury just had some encouraging words and some pointed words from Maddie Washington about defensive assignments, no doubt. Both free throws were made. So the Lobos leads back down to 5, 66-61. Got a feeling they're going to keep going to Nunn as often as possible. She's at the free throw line right now, back to the basket. Bainan jogs to the cross midcourt. Other three players are near the baseline. Now Nunn's going to set a down screen. Bainan just dribbling. We got a whistle away from the ball. It's going to go against St. Mary's. And this is going to be against Raggio.
That's only Raggio. I can't believe it's only her second foul in this game after a.
Feels like everybody has 3 or 4.
Everybody in the game.
Maiden will inbound, 6:13 left. Inbound goes to Buck. Buck spins back around into the paint. 4-footer, no good off the back rim. St. Mary's gets the rebound. Oh, man, those are the ones that hurt. Got an open look from a close distance, and the shot would not go down. St. Mary's ball. Here's Beck. Doesn't use the screen. Drives to the paint all the way to the basket and scores. Second straight time that Beck has not used the high ball screen. Faked using it, and it led to a wide open layup. Missed the first, made that one. Here's Bainan trying to answer. Her shot off the glass, no good. St. Mary's grabs the rebound. Lobos are in a tough scoring stretch right now. Chance for St. Mary's to tie it with a 3. Here's Beck. A 2 is no good, and Bainan grabs the rebound. Big stop for the Lobos there.
Well, and those are the type of rebounds New Mexico's got to finish with. The guard's got to go down there and help out.
And now a foul call against Tisha Buck, a push-off. She was trying to get a little separation, open herself up for a 3. And that's the third on Buck.
And that was great sell on St. Mary's. I mean, that could happen every single time down the floor. And you see Beck, anytime there's contact right at the top of the key with any New Mexico player, she's basically flailing her arms to show, hey, I got pushed a little bit as we came down the floor.
5.5 minutes remain. Lobos got to figure out this high ball screen. Beck is guarded by Fly. And here comes the high ball screen. Lobos lead by 3, 66-63. Actually, they're setting up a different play. Pass goes to the far side to Holland. Holland inside to McKay. McKay's open and scores. They lobbed it over Nunn. It's a 6-0 run for St. Mary's. The Lobos lead is down to 1, 66-65. Lobos need an answer. Here's Buck. Her 3, straight on, way off the mark, out of bounds. Lobo ball off the ankle of a St. Mary's player. Lobos caught a break.
Well, and that's the difference, right? St. Mary's has 4 players around the basket on any type of New Mexico shot as well as their own shot, but New Mexico has nobody in there to try to get the offensive rebound.
I think that was fatigue on Tisha Buck's 3. She's breathing heavily, hands on her hips, now hands just right around the knees, trying to suck a little wind and get some breath back. Inbound goes to Bainan at the free throw line, fakes both ways, spins, turn around, little half hook, no good, rebounded by St. Mary's. Lobos have gone cold. St. Mary's a chance to take their first lead of the game. 4:50 to go, fourth quarter. Holland near side wing. Lobos in man defense. No one near Bainan. Now here comes the high ball screen. Holland uses it. A switch. Now a double team. Holland gets rid of it to Raggio. Top of the way. Now swings it to Beck. Here's Beck driving baseline, and we're going to get an offensive foul against Beck.
No, they're going to call that on 25. They're going to call that on McKay right there, and that might be her 5th personal foul. Jason Nunn was just trying to get preferential treatment over the top of it. Let's see who they called it on.
Yep, you're right. On McKay, her 5th.
And now you have their coach all over, completely out on the floor.
And the crowd yelling, saying that St. Mary's head coach Paul Thomas should be picking up a technical foul here. He wants an explanation from the official, and the official is basically giving that sign for hook when you reach back with one arm to hook the opponent.
Yeah, and she pushed Jason Nunn the entire time. Jason Nunn's just trying to get ground to move anywhere on the floor, and she just held her off and pinned her the entire time.
So McKay is fouled out. That's one of the top scorers for St. Mary's, one of those 3 1,000-point scores. New Mexico ball leading 66-65. Fly to Buck, inside to Nunn, turns around quickly with the left hand and scores. With McKay out, that makes it easier for Nunn. She scores. Lobos lead is 3. Long outlet to Holland. Holland driving all the way to the basket, and she lays it in. Nunn didn't realize there was a player driving right toward her, and it was an uncontested layup. 68-67, Lobos, and now with foul on the Lobos.
That happens with her every single time.
Was that Nunn?
No, they're going to call a technical on Mike Bradbury, but that's Beck. Anytime there's contact on the way down, she's just falling. Anytime there's contact right off the bat at the top of the key.
2 free throws for Stella Beck, and the Lobo crowd will voice their displeasure. First one got the roll, hit the back rim, went up, and spun back in. And now the second one also gets the roll. It's the first lead for St. Mary's, 69-68. It comes at the 4:08 mark, and it'll be St. Mary's ball. Anderson in for the Lobos. She also has 4. It's Anderson, Buck, Washington, Fly, and Bainan. Lobos down 1. Need a stop. Need to change the momentum. They led by 8 at the end of the quarter. They've led by as many as 15. Trying to advance to the second round of the WNIT. Beck guarded by Fly. Far side wing to Holland. A lob too far, trying to save it is Raggio, but she's out of bounds. Another turnover for St. Mary's boy. They've gotten a couple of baskets on those lobs, but more times than not, it's been a turnover.
Well, and you see them isolate. You have a baseline player guard that follows through, and when New Mexico goes to the man-to-man, which they have the last 3 minutes, that guard follows out, which completely leaves wide open that opposite help side block.
Lobo basketball, down a point. Bain in front of the Lobo bench, gets a screen from Anderson, driving into the paint, and we got a foul called on St. Mary's, not a shooting foul. Well, this is kind of a point where I think all the players' frustration with fouls, that they're all just looking for contact, initiating contact.
Yeah. Well, and that's going to be 3 fouls on Raggio right there, number 12 for St. Mary's.
Bainan will inbound right side of the basket. 3:46 left. Inbound goes to Anderson, top of the circle. Puts it on the floor, drives, pass, goes out of bounds, but tipped by St. Mary's. Still Lobo ball. They caught a break. It's not a good pass by Anderson.
No, I mean, just assuming just to throw the ball out, she's got to set her feet and make a good pass on those. Play a little bit smarter right now. Possessions are key.
Tisha Buck will inbound. All 4 Lobos beyond the arc. Inbound goes to Bainan. Now they set up their play. They want Bainan to start the play from the far side in front of the Lobo bench. Anderson sets the high ball screen again. Bainan dribbling top of the circle to Washington. Washington looked inside to Fly way beyond the arc. 10 on the shot clock. Fly penetrating. Kick out to Buck. 8 on the shot clock to Bainan. Here's Bainan with 6. Her 3 is good! Charisse Bainan drains the 3. Lobos back on top, 71-69.
Well, New Mexico electing to stay in that man-to-man defense now like they have the last few minutes.
Beck gets double teamed, tied up, gets it over to Raggio. Cross-court pass, Cotting, driving baseline, poked away, loose, on the ground. Lobos save it. Lobos ball. Washington gets it to Bainan, who says, hustle down, I got this. Lobos by 2. 2:50 left. The mini pit is roaring. Another high ball screen. Anderson sets it for Bainan. Bainan driving to the paint. Kick out, Fly, baseline 3. Yes! India Fly drains the 3. Bradbury leaps as high in the air as he can. Timeout, St. Mary's.
Well, that ball screen just they want to guard.
The mini pit still on its feet for the most part. 2:42 left. Lobos looking to advance to the second round of the WNIT, trying to hold off St. Mary's. St. Mary's ball, Lobos in man defense. Holland has it far side. Holland dribbles top of the way, double team, in trouble, looking for a teammate. Dangerous pass, loose, on the ground. It's going to be out of bounds. Lobos force the turnover.
And St. Mary's feeling it now. This crowd feeding off of that. That was a great double team call on the ball screen. And Charisse has got to be ready for it on her side as well right here, seeing how St. Mary's is going to guard that ball screen.
I think the Lobos are going to keep running the exact same play. They're going to have Bainan start with it right in front of the coaches. Anderson hit the high ball screen for her. They're going to wait, use some clock first, and then it's up to Charisse to make a play. 17 on the shot clock, 2:17 left in the game. Anderson now comes up, sets the screen. They got the switch. Bainan driving, left hand, no good. Loose ball tip, St. Mary's controls. Gales with the ball, down 5, 2:05 left. Here is Beck against Bainan, driving again into the block, into the paint. Fadeaway is good, and she was fouled. A chance for a three-point play.
Well, and a different official from the top of the key calls that. I thought it was great defense by Charisse Bainan, bodying up. I mean, Beck, you look at it both back and forth. These two, Beck and Charisse Bainan, have got at each other one-on-one. That was a lot of body up as she turned around and finishes that shot.
And that's the 4th on Bainan, who, of course, is going to remain in the game. Free throw is no good. Tipped, offensive rebound for the Gales. Pass inside, deflected, tipped, on the ground. Loose ball, Fly ends up with it. Fly for the Lobos will slow it up in front of the Lobo bench. 1:47 left. Lobos lead by 3. 74-71. Bainan just holding the ball, cradling the ball in her hands, using the clock. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Anderson sets the screen. Bainan gets the switch. Pass to Fly. Baseline, 6 seconds on the shot clock. Washington looks up. Back to Fly. Tries another 3. Hits it! India Fly has drained another 3. 77-71 Lobos. Open players, Connie. Baseline 3. Spins out. Back grabs the rebound. She's fouled. 1:17 left. The Lobo crowd can feel it.
Wow. I mean, India Fly hitting that 3, contested further out than I've seen her shoot this entire year, keeping that alive. with only 2 seconds left. Much better job by the freshman saying, hey, I only have 2 seconds. I better get this off and hit some rim. And instead, she hits nothing but net.
Full court press for St. Mary's. The inbound goes to Bainan. Back to Buck. 1:13 and counting. Back to Bainan. Lobos lead by 6. Still a lot of basketball left. Get it across midcourt to Buck. Right back to Bainan. 18 on the shot clock. Bainan will hold and use as much clock as possible. There'll be a high ball screen coming from Anderson again. 12 on the shot clock. There's the screen. Here's Bainan. Crossover. Into the paint. Driving. Off the glass. No good. Tipped. Anderson trying to keep it alive. Bainan tips it out to Washington. They'll dribble back to midcourt. Hands it off to Bainan, and she's fouled with 48.9 seconds left. It was Anderson who tipped it to keep it alive, and then Bainan just volleyball spiked it because we are on a volleyball court back toward midcourt.
Charisse just came from out of bounds to come back in and just hits that ball out to Maddie Washington, and Maddie Washington brings it out, and Charisse says, give me the ball, give me the ball, right? Follows her completely the entire direction.
These are big free throws for the Lobos. They lead by 6. Bainan will shoot 2. First one. Good. All net.
I mean, that's a lot of confidence right now. You have New Mexico completely all 4 players back being ready for defense with Charisse Bainan up at the line.
Second one missed. It spun out. 78-71. Lobos lead by 7. 45 seconds left. Here's Beck for St. Mary's. Driving in the paint with the left hand. Was fouled by Bainan. That's the 5th on Bainan.
I don't know how they call that a foul. I mean, that was a great defensive play. We've seen that a lot, though. Any kind of contact in this game, they're calling anything against New Mexico.
The crowd's going to come to its feet and clap for Bainan, appreciative of the seniors' effort, grit, talent. She has fouled out. Nunn has fouled out. 41.1 seconds left. Linnea Bryan-O's checked in for the Lobos.
Well, this is kind of, you need Tisha Buck to take a little bit, right? At this point, better shooter. You have Linnea who knows how to get it done. She's a senior as well, but Linnea's got to, I mean, you've got to have Linnea and Tisha Buck really just step up. I mean, you got a lot of freshmen out on that floor right now, which is very positive for New Mexico.
First free throw is good. Here's the other thing. Don't forget the shooter. Don't forget who's boxing out the shooter. And Linnea Bryan, I think, just pointed to India Flight and said, Anderson's going to shoot 2 free throws. 39.9 seconds left. Lobos lead by 5. Again, Anderson, it's weird. She's not straight on. Usually your right foot is right in the middle. She has her left foot in the middle. So is the right foot in front of the left, but she's slightly to the right. First free throw is no good. Now the second one for Anderson.
Big mishap. I mean, New Mexico really needed to get that into Tisha Buck at that time. This is where Anderson's going to nail the second one.
Good. Made the second one. Nikki called it. 79-73. Lobos by 6. 37 seconds left. St. Mary's ball. Back to Holland. Holland pass to Rothman. Her 3. No good. Another offensive rebound. This one by Beck. Beck to the baseline. Now a cross-court pass to Holland. Quick release 3 is good with 24 seconds left and a timeout called by St. Mary's. It's a 3-point lead now for New Mexico. 79-76. 24.1 seconds.
Yeah, but you have Tisha Buck. At least you, I mean, right now you need a good passer in, but at the same time, you got some shooters in. You got Emily Lyons. You got a lot of good options.
4 players start at the baseline. They're going to run 4 of them, and then inbound goes to Buck. Buck dribbles, waiting for the foul, and it's given. So that's a play where it looks like all 4 players are sprinting toward half court, and then Buck basically takes 1.5 steps that way and then comes right back and gets the ball passed to her. So they did exactly what they wanted.
Well, and a good play because St. Mary's has got to be like, oh, they're going to go for the long pass, right, and have a wide open layup, and then at the same time, you keep your stronghold there with Tisha Buck.
Lobos by 3. 2 free throws for Tisha Buck. 82% on the season. First one. Good. It's a 2-possession game.
Well, this is where you used to having your team on the line saying, let's do some pressure free throws, right? And Tisha Buck comes up there, nails it. Important for its squad right now.
Second one. Good. Got them both. All net. 81-76. Lobos by 5. St. Mary's rolls the basketball, so the clock won't start until Beck picks it up, which is now at half court. Beck dribbling against Fly. Inside the arc. Driving. Step through into paint and scored. It's a 3-point game and another timeout called. 81-78. Back to a 3-point Lobo lead. I think did the Lobos call timeout?
That.
It'll be Bryan who will inbound. They'll have two players in the backcourt, one near midcourt. They're basically setting up a play here for Tisha Buck so that she can get a one-on-one matchup.
Right.
Bryan inbounding. Inbound goes to Buck. She's double teamed and fouled right away. That's the play they do with Jason Nunn. They get the other three players nowhere close to her, and then Tisha just does a jab step one direction, comes toward the ball, catches, and waits for the foul.
Well, and they didn't really foul her quick yet. I'm surprised Tisha didn't try to dribble that out a little bit and just try to use a little bit more time. But you're a little bit, you know something's coming. You don't want to do something stupid and dribble it off your foot. So at the same time, you're just waiting for that foul to come.
Buck's first free throw, good. Tisha's been clutch down the stretch here. That's back to a two-possession game, 82-78. 15.3 seconds left. Second free throw. No good. It spun out. Lobos still lead by 4, and a late timeout called by St. Mary's. They kind of held it for a second or two.
Right.
And went from 15.3 to
and you see their
13.2.
coach, he's just holding his hands in his face like, come on, guys.
So timeout by St. Mary's. They should be there. What city? If it is in Albuquerque, it'll be at the Pit. We know the Lobos would be playing Rice, who defeated Texas State 71-60. St. Mary's will inbound. Forcadilla back in the game, inbounding right in front of the coaches. Inbound goes to Beck. Beck to the arc, now driving toward the baseline against Fly. Spinning, lost the handle. Teammate picks it up, shot's no good. Tipped on the ground, loose ball, scramble. Bryan dives for it, and now we're going to get a foul called, I guess, against the Lobos.
They're going to call that against Linnea, but that's a loose ball.
1.3 seconds left, however. So even though the foul is against Bryan, and that's not good, the Lobos have a 4-point lead, and there's only 1.3 seconds left. So St. Mary's missed the shot, and because the ball was on the ground and the scramble and all that, precious seconds ticked off for St. Mary's. Wonderful seconds tipped off for the Lobos and their fans.
Well, and hats off to India Fly for great defensive one-on-one against Beck, who no doubt has taken over this completely second half of the game, going one-on-one, and India Fly just holds her up.
Holland to shoot two. First one is good. Let's see if she tries to miss this one on purpose and try and get a tip back out. It doesn't look like she, well, yeah, it does look like she is. They were trying to set a player up in a three-point area. Bradbury's halfway on the court. She's going to miss this probably, and they're going to try and tip it out for a game-tying three. Lobos lead by 3, 1.3. Free throw, she made it. I don't know if she was trying to. Lobos call timeout.
You know, it's funny what you can do when a coach tells you to miss a free throw.
It's hard to miss.
What are you doing to me, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of it's like that reverse cycle.
And it looks like they're setting up a similar play for Tisha Buck. Washington and Fly are near the St. Mary's rim. Anderson close to where Bryan is inbounding. And they're trying to set it up for Buck. Throw it the other way to Anderson, who catches. And the horn sounds. I think a foul was called. I don't know if it's going to matter. I believe the Lobos have won. Let's see if they're going to put point-something seconds on the clock. Buck couldn't get open. It was a tough catch by Anderson going away from the ball. I think they're going to maybe put a half second or something back on the...
What a great throw by Linnea Bryan, though, because Tisha Buck was completely held the entire time getting open, and then you had Linnea Bryan just nailing that on the money. Any other direction, it would have gone another way.
0.4 seconds on the clock. Bradbury has his jacket off for the first time in his 2 years as Lobos head coach. Anderson's first free throw, no good. Again, 0.4, so you have to catch and heave. And so, I actually think it's better if you miss. Here's the second free throw from Anderson. That one is no good, which is better. Caught, pass, doesn't matter. Ball game over. The New Mexico Lobos survive and advance. The Lobos hold on. Final score, New Mexico 82, St. Mary's 80.